And good evening, hello, wherever you are, however you're watching. This is Mike Straw Live coming at you. It's Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. We're already at the end of October, guys. We are already there. Molly, good evening. Chris, good evening. Fuzzy, Muffin, good evening. Death Note, hello. Hello to everybody watching on YouTube. Hello to everybody watching. Hopefully the quality is good because I didn't do tests over the weekend and I said let's wing it. And we're now broadcasting as well on the Purple site. We are on both. We are on the both. Twitch and YouTube. For the foreseeable future, we're going to do both as long as the quality's there and it's working and stuff like that. I wasn't sure. Molly, happy early birthday. I won't ask your age. That would be rude of me to do it. Do not want to do that. But what was I saying? I didn't know what we were going to talk about today. And then Madden put out an update. EA put out an update for Madden, and it kind of made me a bit salty. So it had me thinking about the time when sports games mattered. When sports games tried. When there was competition. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Xbox news because there's a lot of Xbox news to get to. I don't want even to say there's a lot of Xbox news to get to, but there are rumors continue to spread about what the future holds, and now you have Xbox continuing to make decisions that hurt their clientele and their user base. And it has me wondering just what the end game is here for Xbox. Like, it's just a case of, again, what's here? What is the end game? Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. Join the Discord. Link, as always, in the description below on YouTube. Share the stream. Help us. I want to get to the point where this just becomes sustainable. It's still not there yet. And it's leaning towards me, honestly, moving times. Instead of doing 8:30, maybe bumping it up to 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. Maybe just doing it over the weekends. Maybe doing a Saturday show instead. Saturday evening or Saturday morning. I don't know. But there's some things that we need to figure out. But I do love every single one of you who are here. Fuzzy, you're probably right. Speaking of Xbox, I have been enjoying the ROG Ally X from Asus. Thank you to Asus, as always, for being great partners with me. Worked with them for years, and they have always been fantastic to me. Have I agreed with everything they've done? Absolutely not. No, not one iota have I agreed with everything they've done. But from a professional working relationship, they've always treated me well. They've always answered the questions I've needed answers to. So it's always made me happy. But yeah, so we got that going on. It's a solid night. A solid night. Before we get into talking about what I want to talk about, I want to hear from you guys. I kind of want to do this at the beginning of every show. I want to know what you guys have been playing, what in gaming has made you happy, what in sports has made you happy, what in life has made you happy. There's so much negativity, and I know we're going to talk about some negative stuff with what's going on, but I want to know what isn't negative is how this mustache continues to come in. I think we're at the time, ADD brain here, I think we're at the time where styling it and curling it might have to happen. I want to know what you've been playing and what you guys are having a good time with. That's what I want to know right now. Has anybody have new games come out that you've been enjoying? Have old games kind of reignited your fire? What have you been playing? Chris, playing NHL 26 and FC 26 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. NHL 26, I keep going back and forth with. NHL 26, franchise mode, what they did last year is good, and it's still solid. The gameplay bothers me in so many ways with franchise mode or with NHL that it's tough for. I have more fun off the ice than I do on, and that's because of X Factors. I hate X Factors in NHL. Absolutely hate them. NASCAR 25 with work. NASCAR 25, I'm still going hard on as much as I can because I got to get my review done. And we'll talk about that too. My new personal policy with sports games and reviews. World of Warships Legends. World of Warships. I know I have a friend in my friend's Discord who plays War Thunder all the time. I know Tom likes World of Tanks, and Tom is big into World of Tanks, but he's also big into military stuff. So NASCAR 25 been a blast. More Football Manager. Football Manager 26 is 2 weeks away, Ed. 2 weeks. I know, and it's coming on Game Pass too. You don't even have to worry about it. Granted, I'd probably buy it, but you already have Game Pass. And it'll be on Game Pass, so I know you'll be diving in. I'm assuming you saw the manager creator video that came out today. I think this morning. I think it came out. Battlefield 6. I've yet to touch. Battlefield 6, and that's just because my backlog is packed. Absalom. I had Absalom. I had played a lot. I don't like putting it down, but I had to for other games. Dispatch, we'll get into my stuff in a minute, because there's a couple games I've been playing that I really want to talk about. Listen, Phil, the old round and round. I have to deal with this, Phil, from Tom and Grant and even AP at times. I don't need it from you now. All right? You're coming in here and doing all that. TKO, NASCAR 25. Racing games are so much better with wheels. If you can afford it, racing games are such a different experience with wheels that I can't imagine just how... Like, I use the controller when I just want to relax, but I like setting up my wheel, and it's just a whole different experience. If you've never experienced a racing game with a wheel, and you can try and find and get an entry-level wheel, like a G29 or something from Logitech, which is one of the best entry-level wheels on PlayStation. If you can spring the couple $100 for a used, like 923 or 920, go for that. Well worth it. Liam, yes. They were talking about World of Tanks. Or World of Warships. And immediately made me think of you in War Thunder. See, you're on my mind. You're on my mind, sir. iRacing Arcade demo's out on Steam. I hope so. I need to check it out. They do. So NASCAR does have Chicago Street Course. If that's what you're looking for. NASCAR does have the Chicago Street Course. They don't have Chicagoland, but they have the Street Course. Though I still wonder, once we get, we have the schedule for next year, I still wonder if after Daytona we get... or around the Daytona 500, we get an update of some tracks. I know they're saying they're leaning towards an annual franchise with that, but I have this weird feeling we're going to get... I have a feeling we're going to get some updated tracks. I do too, Death Note. I can't do it. I used to be really good on Watkins Glen, but even doing that, I'm struggling with. I'm struggling hard at Watkins. Phasmophobia? I'm assuming you mean Molly? EA shut down Sims Mobile. No. Raiders, that has nothing to do with that. They don't have a say in that yet. Sims Mobile being shut down, from what I know, was always part of a plan. Basically, the Sims franchise, it'll end up on mobile again. It's just going to be a whole different thing. With the Sims on the Sims experience and what EA is planning with it. Fuzzy, I hate you. You guys, no. Stop it. That one bothered a lot of people. I could never get into it. I can never get into the mobile side of things. It wasn't my thing. I don't want to ban you. I like you. I like you, but you stop it. There is, so the games I've been playing before we get into the topics of the day. Reviews have dropped. Absalom, that dropped last week. Today, my non-spoiler review of episodes 1 and 2, focusing more on the gameplay and what you actually do in the game for Dispatch, went live on Insider Gaming. Dispatch, if you don't know, is a workplace comedy from Ad Hoc Studio, a team from a studio basically built and run by a bunch of former Telltale Games employees. So it's your episodic adventure choices narrative type of game where it feels much more like you're watching a show or a movie than you are playing a game. The story is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic of a story. I don't want to spoil anything. I will not spoil anything because of the fact it's an episodic game. Each episode runs an hour. The first 2 episodes are out now, and then every Wednesday moving forward, or the first 2 episodes are out tomorrow at 10 a.m., and then every Wednesday moving forward for the next 4 weeks, there'll be 2 more episodes up to 8. I will not spoil anything that happens in the story until at least all 8 episodes are out and people have had time to play it, and I give my full thoughts. Gameplay-wise, I enjoy the nice mix. What I can say, and what I will say, is that the characters and voice acting, flawless, impeccable. The art design, it gives it feels like you're watching a more polished episode of Invincible, if that makes sense. That's what the art style feels like. Then you have Aaron Paul as Robertson. What a great name they picked. It's hilarious. He kills it with his sarcastic, dry deadpan. How does work pay for a set of chapters? You buy the game full price. You buy the game, and it's all one package. So you'll get them. You pay one price, you get everything. For me, Fuzzy, I'd say it's better. I would say 100% it's better on the voice acting side of things. But it's also got the type of humor that I enjoy. It's not a game you want to watch around children. It is very vulgar. You can censor it, but that's not fun. It is it's got some dry thing. It's just not a game. It's a very good, well-written, humorous game. And it knows when to be funny. It knows when to be serious. It knows when to shift the tones. It just, and this is just through 2 episodes. There are some things everybody, there's the hacking. The point of the game, if you don't know, from the gameplay perspective, is you're dispatching a team about a team of reformed villains known as the Z Team for Project Phoenix, a government project to turn villains into heroes and send them out and help. The dispatching part, you have to figure out who to send where based on their skills and their stats of strength, vigor, intelligence, charisma, and there was one more, and I can't remember what it is. Agility, I believe it is. You send it, and some work, some don't. Some have meshing with each other, or synergies with each other. And these characters, you send them out, and at the end of each shift, you get a recap of how things work. During your time, you might have to hack into extra cameras or security systems, and their mini games. In the first 2 episodes, you don't get enough of those mini games. I think, for me personally, you only get a couple, and it kind of it leaves you wanting more. So my hope is in episodes 3, 4, and beyond, when I go and sit down to play those, you get more to it. I'm not going to review each 2 episodes in their 2-episode chunks. I put my first two, my review of the non-spoiler of the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. I put those in the I put those in my review, or did that review, because I wanted people to see what the gameplay is so I can give my thoughts on that. And the rest of the story will be there. TP with the $3 super chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Welcome back to the stream. I've missed you. Thank you so much. Guys, I remind you, you never have to do that. It does help. I'm so incredibly grateful when I see it. No embargo violations here, Molly. I hate you. You know, there was somebody who messaged me asking if I really would break embargoes, which is fantastic. So yeah, Dispatch available on PlayStation 5 and PC right now, or starting tomorrow. Go check that out. The other game I've been playing, and it is now one of my, probably in my top 5 games of the year, along with, don't apologize, Molly, it's funny. At this point, it's funny. The other game I've been playing, and like Absalom right now is one of my games of the year. The other game that is quickly entering into that conversation is Ball Pit. Ball X Pit. Ball Cross Pit. Whatever you want to call it. It is a brick-breaking game mixed with ball fusion, mixed with base building, roguelite. And if you know me, and you've followed me for time, you know that roguelite games are one of my favorite genres. Between that, turn-based strategy games, like, it's just so much fun. So much fun for me. The different characters you have, you have one whose focus is on speed, and I think his ability is a ball of fire. His main like special ball is a fireball that leaves burn. You have another one who's focused on ability. His primary focus is on strength. He's slower, but he can withstand more damage. You have another one who's focused on frost and freezing and slowing down the opponents that allow them to do more. Like, every ball you get fuses. Think of the fusion system in... Molly. Think of the fusion system, damn it, in like a game like Vampire Survivors, right? Where you get your items, you push them together, and they make a better item. Every ball you get in this game can be fused and merged together to combine their features in order to then get more and throw and use it to get through. As you go, the base building aspect, you're building in before going back down into the pit. You're building a base that helps you harvest resources and improve your characters with additional strength and additional speed, and building homes to recruit different characters. This is one of those, like, play this game. I can't recommend it enough. It's $15 on Steam. If you have Xbox Game Pass PC or Ultimate, it's available there. You can even buy, I mentioned Vampire Survivors. You can buy a bundle that includes Vampire Survivors. Like, that's what they have. And then there's also a bundle with the game Clover Pit you can buy. A bundle with Billionaire you can buy. It's a game well worth your time. TP, thank you so much again for another $3 super chat. Nothing much to talk about at UFC 6, early 26 or late 26. I'm of the belief that that UFC 26 will be a mid to late 26 release at this point. Everything on the EA side is super quiet. I was asked on Twitter, before I get into the sports Xbox news, we'll get to the sports games after that. When I was asked on Twitter if I've heard anything on Fight Night or if I think Fight Night will still get done. In all honesty, I don't see it getting done. I wouldn't be surprised if right now there's no movement at all. I'd actually be more surprised if they come out and they say Fight Night's coming. One, with if the deal with the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund goes through, I'd be surprised. Then it goes, because for those that aren't aware, the PIF is also providing some funding for, I don't know how much, providing some funding for Steel City and Undisputed. Now, people are asking, will EA buy Steel City? I don't see that either. I don't see EA buying anything right now. They're about to take on $20 billion in debt as part of this deal as a company. They're going to look to cut costs before acquiring anything, because it's going to be tough when you're $20 billion in debt that you need to buy the company in order to acquire studios at this point. So that's kind of where I see things stand with that. Summer Games Fest, yeah, it gets announced around this time every year, to be honest, because it allows people to book hotels. Like, we're already at Insider Gaming, we're already booking and looking at booking our hotel for next June to get out to LA again for Game Fest and the surrounding events. So we are trying to figure that out now. So it makes sense. The Game Awards, that you won't see anything until it's closer. You won't see anything until it's closer. And they like to keep the Game Awards very surprise heavy for the most part. Think anyone's going to be jumping at the WB Studios? I know Netflix is reportedly making an offer for Warner Brothers Discovery. I believe it would be for the whole thing. Warner Brothers is brutal. This Warner Brothers, these mergers of major media companies never work out, and all it leads is to another merger, more layoffs, less creativity, more consolidation. End of the year, will there be an Anthem remake? Yeah, Iron Man from EA. And assuming, Phil, that's what you're talking about. Motive's Iron Man game, which, is I still am under the assumption that's coming. Predict before the end of the year, will there be a GTA 6 announcement, either trailer 3 or delayed? I think there's a good chance we get a third trailer by December, if the game is still coming in May. We have the next Take-Two earnings call is November 6th, I believe. I want to double check that. Don't quote me on that. Yes, November 6th is the next Take-Two earnings call for Q2 2026, a fiscal year 2026. We'll find out if there's a delay known. We'll find out around then. If not, they're going to say it's still on track for May 26th of 2026. Molly, planning the finance. Yeah, I'm so happy I don't have to plan the finances. I was debating on going out to the Game Awards in December, but there's nothing from a news standpoint that warrants it for me. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing on that point. What does it mean for the gaming division? For Warner Brothers, it could mean nothing. It could mean everything. If Netflix were to buy Warner Brothers, Netflix games would likely just absorb Warner Brothers games, and you'd see Warner Brothers games continuing as they are, but just under the Netflix banner. If Netflix were to get Warner Brothers Discovery, I don't see the gaming thing changing all too much. We'll see layoffs, because you'll always see that, but I don't see it changing overall on how the structure is. What I'd see happen more is on the sports side and the wrestling side and stuff like that. My biggest concern is, should Netflix, who's in bed with WWE, buy a Warner Brothers who airs AEW? What does that mean? What does that mean? Liam, any thoughts about EU5 release? I think it's, what is it, next month at this point? Yeah, November 4th, same day as Football Manager. So I haven't touched it yet. I'm waiting to schedule an interview with the developers because I want to do like a launch interview because it's one of those games we're probably not going to review because we just don't have the staff or the time to put in what we need it. But I can tell you just from talking to people, it's been very quiet. Like, there were previews when it was announced back in May. There were a couple previews over the summer from Gamescom or September. But generally, coverage of it has been super quiet. It's just... I don't want to say it's a game that will feel pretty much the same as EU4. But I feel like there's that concern with players that it will. Now, there are, in EU5, there are things like the new ages. I think there's 6 ages total. I think, like, advisors are gone with your cabinet. Advisors are gone entirely. Each state has its own cabinet now that can go up to 10 people per cabinet, I believe it is. You can trade goods and resources, you know, like wheat, silk, spices, and stuff like that. I believe you can also trade slaves. I think that's part of the game. The provinces from EU4 have been split. This is all stuff I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. The provinces from EU4 have been split, I think, to like 5 or 6 locations, each of the provinces. I somewhere around there. Mana is gone from the game. They got rid of that. Instead of a fixed value, each character has an admin diplomacy and one other value that ranges from like 0 to 100, where all characters start at nothing and it grows and as you go. There are culture wars. Now there is the diplomacy system is the same. And then there's a few more things. So there's some change. There are some solid changes. It's just, it doesn't feel like the community, at least on the media side and what I've seen, are all that hyped about it. And I think because it's a game that's kind of just been lost in the shuffle. And Paradox has not been on a really good run. They've had to cancel their Life by You. City Skylines 2 is getting there, but the console version is nowhere near close. And the City Skylines 2 PC, I still don't think it's better or worth jumping over from the original yet. It just isn't, in my opinion. So we're in this weird situation with that I think Paradox, it might be also by plan where they're like, let's just shut up and show what this game is. That's what it feels like. I think you'll see, it's a case of just wait and let the community try it and play it and see what happens. Netflix would stay away from... I think Netflix... I don't know. The DC and Netflix thing, I think Netflix would kill on that front. Capus, what's the latest on the Splinter Cell remake? Well, they are looking for a new game director. This is the second time they're looking for a new game director. But I want to put that to rest. Everybody's thinking... Mainly because of the one news article about it. That from Tech for Gamers, that the game might be in trouble because when they're looking for a director, you know, it could be in trouble. The remake is fine. It's not in trouble. It looks good. Don't worry about the Splinter Cell remake. Like I said, it's fine. It looks good. Things are moving right along. I think you'll see it sometime next year. Whether it's released next year, I don't know, but I think you will see the game in some shape or form in 2026. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Whatsoever. What else do we got? Delay and they released Judas. Judas, I don't know what's going on with that game. I have no idea. I can't get an answer on anything. DC Animated is top tier storytelling. Harley Quinn is a fantastic show. Fantastic show as Harley Quinn. So, thoughts on Football Manager signing a deal with FIFA? Fantastic news. The more we've had over at footballgamingzone.com, one of our lead writers there, if you don't know footballgamingzone.com, it is a new website that launched about a month ago under the Insider Gaming Network or Insider Gaming Group. And we cover everything from EA Sports FC, Football Manager, eFootball, Real World Football, other games, and stuff like that. So, our writer Josh had interviewed the lead designer of Football Manager 26, Ant Farley. Lead designer, design manager, I should say. Ant Farley, and those interviews have been going up. FootballGamingZone.com. Yesterday's was on how Football Manager 26 benefited from the 25 cancellation because they were able to focus on the game and adding things to it rather than every time they updated you on 25, it was, hey, we're taking this away, taking this away, taking this away. Canceling that game, and I'll agree, best decision they could have made. And he mentioned we'd just be fixing bugs. We'd just be fixing bugs. And then they had one today on the difficulty and things of adding the challenges of adding women's soccer to the game. Yeah, Raiders, I think you're right on that. Third or fourth deal, but it's not the deal everybody's been waiting on. That was the first deal being negotiated. The FIFA 2K deal was the first thing that was being negotiated. It was close. Last I knew, it was close to being signed. But then it's been absolute silence ever since. Complete silence. What do you mean by what are the December games? Games coming out in December of this year? Games coming out... if you're talking about games coming out in December this year, there's a few currently scheduled. Nothing huge, but definitely some games to keep an eye on. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the big one, December 4th. That's the big one coming out. Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 comes to PS5. Skate Story launches in the beginning of December. Octopath Traveler 0 launches. Toxic Crusaders, a game that I played at Summer Games Fest at the Mix. Classic beat 'em up feel if you love beat 'em ups. Mutant Football League 2 launches in December. And we're still waiting. We're expected to hear soon the release date of Marvel Cosmic Invasion. And I would assume, I'd feel like that'd be a perfect December game. What else do we have? We haven't even gotten to the topics of the day. Splinter Cell should be ready given it's been in development for 4 years. Kappas, yes and no. I can tell you the Splinter Cell team, comparatively to the rest of Ubisoft, is a very small team. The team working on that game is small compared to the rest, so it hasn't really surprised me with how long it's taken. And it's not like Ubisoft has been going swimmingly lately for the last couple years, so things have kind of bounced around. Terminator Survivors, I know nothing. Like I said, TP, the City Skylines 2, that console port is nowhere near. Nowhere near. Kappas, did he really? That's incredible. Hold on, he did. Did Michael write it? Michael is our, who's been doing great work for us, by the way. Michael has been doing fantastic work writing about covering up the late. For the job listing. Though the one thing, I saw it, and you can't, it takes you to a 404 page. The job listing isn't there. But if I go, let's go to the Wayback Machine. I want to see if it's up if I go to the Wayback Machine. Has not done that. What if I go here? So that. When's the next podcast? The Insider Gaming Podcast will be Thursday at 4 p.m. Terminator Survivors, I got nothing going on. Sinking City, I saw that. I saw that it did. The next game event I'm going to, it's not a gaming event. There's a chance I'm going to CES in January, but not 100% on that. But DICE or Game Developers Conference next spring is a good possibility as well. Or PAX East again. I'm trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure out our travel schedule and our plans. But DICE might be the first one of the year next year. So, Xbox news. Not a big story, but an important story. Not the biggest, I should say, but still important. So we all know Xbox is still working on their next-gen consoles. Sarah Bond talked about it. That the Xbox Series X and S successors are still in development because rumors continue to run about the future of Xbox hardware. Like I said, I still believe we obviously will have one more gen, but I still think that after this gen, this is going to be what an Xbox is. I still think this is what we're going to see. But we also got Sarah Bond talking about the pricing of the Ally X, and she said in an interview that Microsoft nor Xbox had a say in the pricing. It was Asus that determined $1,000 because it's their hardware technically, so they determined it. That makes sense. And that makes sense in every way, to be honest. It is their hardware. But yeah, like I just think TP, I'm not trolling. Like I honestly do believe after the next gen of Xbox, I can't remember who said it earlier in the chat. So I don't want to give credit. I cannot remember. You know, I kind of want to, when I was talking about Xbox, I think it might have been Fuzzy when I was talking about their end game, and he brought up what kind of makes sense. Push everybody to Game Pass so they can stop making hardware. I don't think they're going to stop making hardware entirely. The old Steam machine, that was a streaming or the Steam Deck, or no, Steam Link. That's what it was. Streaming box, basically. That's what I think the future of Xbox hardware is. That's what I think the future of Xbox hardware is. A box like this that connects to controller, connects to the internet, connects to the TV, and you play your Game Pass games on the cloud. No installations, nothing. That'll be the base level hardware that we'll be getting to. Yeah, she did keep... The thing is, because it's also... It's weird. Because she's technically not wrong because they're not building anything yet. Fuzzy. They're still in the prototyping thing. They're still in the plan. Like, production is when they'll be building. They're not there yet. First builds, if the consoles are going to come in 2027, you've seen dev kits and stuff, but actual what it might look like and stuff, those will start being produced next year. The APU looks interesting. Moore's Law is Dead is very iffy as a source, but usually when they post it, it's never 100% accurate, but it's somewhere around there. And the APU looks interesting, but it's not going to be... This next gen is not going to be a major power jump, but it's going to be priced like it's a major jump. And people need to know not to fall for it. Like, you have to... If you're going to get it, you're going to get it, but don't go in thinking the next gen, the PS6 and the Xbox Y720, whatever they want to call it, are going to be these great generational leaps in gaming. They're not. We're kind of beyond that, I think, as far as what you'll see in visual fidelity and stuff like that. Everything's about ray tracing and frame generation. I don't have a 5090. I have in my computer a 5070 Ti, and the computer I have now, My son's computer next to me is a 4090. We're probably going to be switching that soon so I can go back to my 4090. But I like the look and the size of the 5070 Ti, that it doesn't take up so much space, that it has me happy. But the news that we need to talk about on the Xbox front, and Kirk, I do see you. Good evening. We'll talk about NFL when we get to football games, the sports game stuff in a minute. Xbox has now raised the price of their dev kits. So not only have they raised the price of Game Pass and consoles on the consumer, but now developers are being forced to deal with a price increase as well. If you want a dev kit for an Xbox system, dev kits come with the hardware to do developing and testing for Series S and X with them, including extra memory like 40 gigs instead of 16. The Xbox dev kits are now rising from $1,500 to $2,000, a 33% increase. Microsoft told developers, according to The Verge, that the adjustment reflects macroeconomic developments, the lazy excuse they're giving that they don't have to while they continue to make record profits every quarter. We remain committed to providing high-quality tools and support your development efforts. Again, they're not hurting for money. They're making record money hand over fist in revenue. This has nothing to do with macroeconomics. It has to do with corporate greed and knowing companies and people will pay it. That's what it is. That's all. It's hard to look at anything they do and not think that way. And I hate being that way. But I can't honestly feel any other way. Everything they're doing appears to be solely because they're making a lot of money, but just not a lot of money. And it's frustrating. And it's frustrating to see. It sucks. Because I used to be a massive Xbox fan. Xbox 360, I loved it. And then everything with Xbox, we should have seen the writing on the wall when they revealed the Xbox One. And then we got who was it? What was his name? Don Matrick, the Xbox CEO at the time, said when asked about, hey, if you can't connect to the internet, what are you supposed to do? Oh, we have a console for you. Play the Xbox 360. Basically saying you don't get to play the new games. Go play the old games if you don't want to connect to the internet all the time. So that, everything kind of started to go downhill for Xbox there. And the thing that bothered me is, before these mass layoffs this summer and the massive price increases, Xbox was cooking with what they were planning with the games. They were cooking. And this goes back to my thought of, I guarantee you things would be better for Xbox if these games they were coming out with, these first-party games, like a Ninja Gaiden, which that's a game I have installed on here that I have to, another game I have to play. I've installed on the Ally X because I really want to see how it plays on that. But if they would have made a bunch of these games Xbox exclusives, not Xbox and PC, I'm talking about Xbox exclusive console for a year. Similar like Sony with the Ghost series when Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei is exclusive, Spider-Man exclusive. Like, if Xbox would make these things exclusive, I think the console would sell better, would have sold better, would still be selling better, and I think they'd be in a better situation on here. Phil, and that's a problem. It kind of did, but then you see the thing comes out by putting Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on the service. They lost a reported $300 million in sales. We are moving towards Xbox and PC TP being the same thing. Xbox and TP. You guys ready for some breaking news? They'll blame tariffs, Kappas, but it has not, that's only part of it. They'll blame the tariffs. They don't need to do anything to react to the tariffs. But are you guys ready for some breaking news on a game coming to Nintendo Classics on the Switch 2? You ready for this? Hold on, let's switch over. Let's switch over.
Something spooky is coming to Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Classics. Luigi's Mansion. Available October 30th on the Nintendo Switch 2 system with a Nintendo Switch.
What a game to get on Halloween. It can vote. That game came out, was a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube. 24 years, the original Luigi Mansion is. An only 7-hour game, 8-hour game. Amazing game. Can't wait to play that and introduce that game to my oldest when it launches, when it comes out. 9 days, just in time for Halloween. Great time. Great time. Wasn't my first GameCube game. My first GameCube game was Animal Crossing. But what a game. What a game Luigi's Mansion was. I don't think we're ever going to get that. Actually, we might. We might. I was going to say, I don't think we're ever going to get that, but we totally will. If they gave us Mario Kart Double Dash with online multiplayer, it would chug. I don't think it would even hurt too much the Mario Kart World play. Liam, you need to. Get Dolphin on your computer and play it. It's so good. It's so good. So that's enough Xbox. Let's talk about sports games real quick. Because remember, y'all, when there was competition with games? Remember when there was competition with everything? I believe it still is. They haven't mentioned it, Kappas. That is the rumor running, that in a week we will get something. They have a trailer coming tomorrow for Season 1. They have the trailer for Season 1 coming tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. So maybe that's when they announce it. They can't just drop it the day of. They have to do an announcement of it, and maybe tomorrow it is. We get the first look at the new map, and then hopefully tomorrow we get something with that. Now, sports games. Remember when they mattered? EA put out a post, and this is what kind of triggered me on this thing today. EA put out a post where EA put out a post of the next Madden update. And they talked on like gameplay and pass rush improvements, defensive updates, kickoff and special team updates, AI improvements. And there was really none of that for CPU players versus CPU. Everything is still broken. The updates, everything. And it just makes me feel I'm tired of the catering towards the creators, the MUT players. I'm tired. Like, if you like the mode, great. But these are the players that should not be catered to 100%. And it seemed the people who just want to play franchise mode by themselves, me, a great streamer, Mills, and so many others, are continued left out in the cold. That why go back to the game? Why? There's not really a point. And they did it with college. It took them 2 years with college football. College football 25 was so much fun, from the speed of the gameplay to what they offered. College Football 26 comes out, and I did the EA Play trial. It's slower. It just, there's certain things that are cool with the recruiting and the transfer portal, but it took a year for that to kind of fall on it and be kind of dull. It's still selling well. Tomorrow, October 22nd, we get September's sales data, so we're going to really see how college football with the season going on at that point, Madden with the season going on, NBA in a full month, NHL comes out. We're going to see how these sports games are selling, and they will be selling. They will be selling. But all it's done, NBA 2K, another one. The gameplay has been fun, but they keep making these changes that are focusing more on the creators and the streamers and making them happy than making your casual audience happy. And what pisses me off is that just because the creators and the streamers, a lot of them are the ones spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, stupidly, I might add, on aggressive microtransactions. Aggressive. Where my team is pay to win. I don't care what people say. My team is pay to win. My career in the park, if you want to do the multiplayer aspect of my player, pay to win. That's all it is. But they keep catering to these players rather than the players, the passionate ones who just want to play a franchise mode or just a traditional career and on the court. And they keep catering to these. And it had me going, remember the times when we had competition in sports games? Remember? In 2001 is the year I remember vividly. I was 11, 12 years old. And I was it was right just after I started really getting into the NFL and getting into football. In 99, 2000 is when I really started getting into football. 97, 98, I really was like, this is cool. Let's watch some games. 99, I got hooked. 2000, gaming, hooked. 2001, I played every single one of these football games. In 2001, we had Madden 2002. We had NFL 2K2. We had NFL Game Day 2002. We had ESPN NFL Primetime 2002. Awful game, by the way. Had the ESPN presentation, which was cool. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson doing the commentary. Game looked good. Gameplay was bad. Even back then, I knew. NFL Quarterback Club 2002, which was the last quarterback club game in that franchise. And NFL Fever 2002, which the Fever franchise might be the most underrated football game ever. Football games, line. Same with NBA Inside Drive. The Microsoft Studios games, back when Microsoft was killing it. Microsoft sports games were fantastic. NFL Fever, underrated. Lynx, 2004. Lynx was a great golf series. NBA Inside Drive had a lot going for it. And they even had their NHL franchise. What was it? NHL Rivals? NHL Rivals was solid. And then, yeah, we had Blitz. Didn't even think about Blitz. If you really wanted that arcade level, you had NFL Blitz. Blitz 2002 came out in what? September? Or Blitz 2002, it's weird. It came out on Game Boy in September of 01, but it didn't come out for traditional console until 2002. But it's still got solid ratings, mixed ratings, but I mean it's NFL Blitz. It was there to give you that that shift from what you had been playing, right? It had you. It was just a nice mix. Then NFL Street a couple years later, but 2001, the games we had, and then you look over to that era for hockey. In 2001, We had NHL Face Off 2002. We had NHL 2002 from EA. We had NHL Hits 2002. We had ESPN National Hockey Night in 2001. You had the first Eastside Hockey Manager, if you wanted the sim side on PC, in 2001. Like, MLB had the High Heat series. We've hit a point. Basketball, you had the college basketball games. But in 2001, you had NBA Live. You had NBA Shootout. You had ESPN NBA Tonight. You had NBA 2K. You had NBA Jam. Hell, if you want, you had March Madness. You had NBA Hoops with a Z. You had NBA Street. You had Backyard Basketball. You had NBA Shootout. NBA 2K. Like, all this competition. All of this competition. And I get it, games became more expensive to make. The return on investment wasn't there for a lot of them. That's how things happened. But we hit a point where now it's been so consolidated that I don't want to say the developers aren't trying. Because the guys building the games are trying. The executives making the decisions, on the other hand, aren't. The executives making the final call, look at it, see they're making the money, make sure that the money still comes in, and as long as the money's coming in, they don't care. A couple years ago, I had reported that Madden was in a make or break point, and it wasn't just going to be about sales, because that was the message that they were delivering internally. Then the sales came in. That make or break went out the window because they were through the moon happy with the money the game was making. Death Note, you got a point. Competition is in racing games, and that's because you don't have to worry about too much with licensing in racing games, and there's so much for everybody. You got Forza, though that series, the main line, is kind of dead now, and they're focusing on Horizon. You have Project Motor Racing coming out soon. You have NASCAR. You have iRacing. You have a bunch of arcades. You have Formula One. You have all these different racing games. Molly, are they relying on the legacy names to cover up the glitches? They're relying on FOMO. That's what they rely on. FOMO. They rely on the fact that there is no other option. Whether people want to admit it or not, these companies rely on the fact that there is no other option for the licensing. So people, the casual player, will go, well, I want to play as my favorite player, so I'm going to get the licensing. And then you do have these great up-and-coming games. A Maximum Football. An Axis Football. An Axis Football, years in development, multiple releases, a very, very, very small team with one of the deepest franchise modes in football gaming ever. But because the gameplay still kind of feels like mid-PS2 era, because that's just what they have to do, even though they got motion capture and stuff like that. But because they're not licensed, and there's some issues with running and tackling that people still see, people don't give it a chance. People don't see a $30 football game, and because it doesn't have the license, they just think, I'm not going to give it my time. But then they'll go and spend the $70 on a AAA game, on a Madden. And because they have the license and the players they want to play with, and they'll give that the hours and stuff. But the small game, if they want these smaller games to improve and get better and offer more and potentially get licensing, I mean, there's the UFL out there that I bet would talk. And to be honest, they probably have, to get those players or at least the teams in the game and give some sort of licensing. Like, that's just what we're kind of dealing with. And it sucks. We don't have a valued hockey game on PC. Like, there's Tape to Tape, which is a really good game. But there's Slapshot Rebound, which is fun. But there is no true simulation PC hockey game for players other than Franchise Hockey Manager, which even that's starting to disappoint with the limited yearly updates that they get with each game. EA does have somewhat, Kirk, I kind of agree with you there, but the problem is the monopoly happens because the leagues allow it. But you got to think too, though. There's only two games that have exclusive licensing for sports. The NFL and college football. 2 games. But for NHL, the return on investment for 2K wasn't there. It just wasn't there anymore. NBA, for EA, it wasn't there because even though NBA Live 19 was really starting to show like they might be onto something, it still couldn't put a dent in 2K, where the same people who are whining, complaining, and crying about 2K and their practices kept going back to it. And now look, NBA Live is dead. The team dismantled, moved to other products and projects. And since NBA Live has gone down, look at how much more predatory the microtransactions have gotten for 2K. Over the last 4 years, it has only gotten worse at with NBA 2K. Because EA bowed out. And there's no risk of competition anymore. And if you think you won't see that with college basketball, you have another thing coming. You're seeing it with WWE because there's no competition with WWE. Even wrestling games back in the day had competition. Granted, they were exclusive games to the consoles. You had the Raw series on Xbox and then WrestleMania 21. You had the WrestleMania series on GameCube. Then Day of Reckoning. You had the SmackDown series and then SmackDown vs. Raw on PlayStation. Then it all became one game because things got too expensive. And now we are seeing what is happening with the island mode. A microtransaction heavy mode where they were locking wrestlers behind it. So players on PC couldn't get wrestlers that they were adding to the game because they locked them behind a mode that for some reason they wouldn't put on PC. But they put it on the Switch too. So it had nothing to do with power. Then you have My Faction, where they're locking so much behind it. Entrance themes, personas, alternate attires, all of that crap. They're locking. This is the state of sports games, and it's so depressing. It is beyond depressing what we have with sports games right now. And all I keep going back to myself is, remember when sports games mattered? Remember when there was competition with these sports games? Pepperidge Farm remembers. And it has. It is 100% regressed in all facets. Like, the franchise mode is good. Franchise mode, I'll give them that. Would I love online franchise? Yes. On the ice, it has regressed. Mode-wise, it's perfectly fine. That's the thing. A lot of the modes are fine. It's the gameplay that has gotten, other than NBA. NBA's gameplay is fine. The modes are piss poor and so predatory. The EA games, the modes are fine. The gameplay is absolutely terrible. NHL's gameplay got ruined when they started embracing the Chell culture with World of Chell. Their menu systems continue to be the worst in all of sports games. Slow, clunky, unresponsive every year. And then Ultimate Team is Ultimate Team. But it's not as predatory as like Madden's Ultimate Team or anything like that. That's the thing. World of Chell is where the predatory shit happens with EA, NHL. But NHL, the gameplay was ruined when they introduced X Factors. I didn't care, like, it felt more arcade. I don't need my game to feel super simulation. I think people want sim, but when they really think about it, they don't want sim. They want a simcade experience because the more sim you get, the more boring it gets to a lot of casual players. It's just what it is. But the X Factors, to me, have ruined the NHL franchise. That's the thing. They can make sim and arcade games. They don't. But even back in the day, the games everybody thought was sim were still on the simcade side of things. They were more sim than arcade, but they weren't full sim. They weren't. Thing is, I mean, they have the arcade mode, Chris, but they put it behind World of Chell. You can't just play arcade mode with regular NHLers. Like, remember NHL Arcade, 3-on-3 Arcade back in 2009 for the 360. With this, you have to play. The mode is pretty much the same as what it was back then, but you have to play in World of Chell with other players. You can't just play CPU or private games with friends. And I saw someone mention WWE and EA. There were talks back a few years ago before the contract agreement extension with 2K between WWE and EA. I wouldn't read too much into that. They're happy with 2K. 2K continues to be one of the best-selling games each week, most players each week in the U.S., best-selling games each month. They're perfectly happy. They're perfectly happy with it. But with that,
The rookie will hold it.
why are things videos playing? But with that, we're going to wrap up. It's time to wind down. It's been well over an hour here. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and joined the chat. The chat, I didn't get to my topics until late because the chat was so good. You guys make it so much fun to hang out and do this. Everybody who's tuned in on Twitch, thank you very much. YouTube, thank you very much. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, follow, share, however you can to support. It all means the world. Take care of one another. Kirk, I did get to that. I forgot to get to that. I am still of the belief that it's continuing. Nothing has been signed officially yet, despite everything being agreed to. But all I feel like, there's been nothing to tell me, and nobody I've talked to has been given any inclination that it's not continuing and moving forward with how it's been. So if something changes, I will be the first to report it, and I'll post in the Discord on Insider Gaming on YouTube. But right now, it's a case of, I ask people all the time about it, but everybody says we're just under the assumption that it's going to be signed when it's signed and to keep moving forward. I think it's just they're waiting. Maybe they wait until this deal closes to officially announce it. But if I'm them, I'm announcing it before the end of the season, because this is like, the time's running out unless they want to quietly extend it. But this isn't a deal you quietly extend at all. But that's where we're at with that. Sorry about that, Kirk. Will the Ravens win this week? No, not if Lamar don't play. I was going to wind up, but we got more questions. What are some realistic options we anticipate if EA doesn't renew by the deadline? No. There's not every... It's a case of EA knows that they don't have to worry about competition right now. Realistically, if EA doesn't renew, and that's the biggest if something falls through and the deal falls through, which I still don't believe it will, there's only one company that would come in. There's only one company that would come in. And we all know which one it is. Molly, no, I think I want to do a different stream for the real life sports talks. I think I want to do it diff. But we've also gone well over an hour with this because we were just talking, so it kind of just gets pushed to the side. MXC you can still watch. There was a Twitch channel that was doing it 24/7. I don't know if they still do. But I know on like the free channels on my television, the free channels, there's a streaming channel that just shows it. But on that note, everyone, thank you again as always. I might be back this weekend. I'm hoping to be back this weekend. Maybe I don't know. I'm going out of town this weekend, so I won't be. I'm going on a nice little trip with a couple friends to watch sports and gamble all weekend. So it's gonna be a fun time. And I will see you guys next Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, Insider Gaming Weekly over at youtube.com/insider_gaming. Until next time, be kind to one another. I love you all.